members you see on the high table here are the board members of the Gambia Collecting Society. They are constituted by an act of parliament, the Copyright Act, and the board members consist of representatives of the artistic associations of the country, the music union, the film producers, the theater groups, and all other artistic groups. So the Collecting Society has been in existence for some time. It has not been very active. This new board was constituted in May, and work has already started. And this is why we are here today to explain to the public what the Collecting Society is, what is it supposed to be doing, and how is it supposed to be doing its work, and for the partners, particularly broadcasters, to understand the role of the Collecting Society and how it is supposed to do its work. So I welcome you once again to this important meeting. And the president of the Collecting Society of the Gambia is Dr. Cherno Omar Barry. He is elected into office on the 22nd of May, replacing Almame Fandintal, who has been there for some time. And I would now leave you with him to give you a brief statement, and then you can ask a question. Thank you.
Ajalo, it is for me an honor to begin with to be elected by the members of the different artistic associations as the president of the Collecting Society of the Gambia. And I want to begin also by thanking all of you really for responding to the press conference. I know how difficult it is during these times when you have multiple activities to run after. We will make it brief. The first part of it would be a quick presentation of the Collecting Society, how it functions, how it is legislated, and most importantly, what its aspiration now that we have a new society board. And then from there, we will give you the opportunity for question answers. You have doubts, more clarifications you need, then it will be more for conversation. We will probably do that maybe 15-20 minutes, and then we will close. So let me begin quickly by, first of all, thanking all the members around this table. They are the elected members of their associations and societies that are allowed or that are mandated to sit as a board of the Collecting Society. And as per the act, they are called members of the society board. So let me just quickly introduce them. We have on my immediate right, Alaji Esa Jallo, someone I'm sure all of you know. He's been in the media. He's the president of the Film Association, Film Producers Association. So I have to be corrected. Please help me out. And then we have immediately next to him the Secretary General of the Writers Association of the Gambia, Keba Mambure. And then next to him we have Omar Traore, who is representing the Gambia Union of Association of Producers and Promoters, right? Or producers only. Great. And on my immediate left, you have Jibril Fall, who is the president of the Gambia Association of Music Promoters. So you have really everybody around. And then just behind him, you have Mr. Mamdemba Sise, who is heading the union that has everything to do with drama and dancing. And then you have Sheikh Omar Jallo, someone also very familiar face, who is representing the National Center for Arts and Culture on the board. And my humble self, now in my capacity as president, but also formally or still with the Writers Association of the Gambia. So the Collecting Society of the Gambia was part of the enactment that was in the Copyright Act of 2004. So if you look at that act, in chapter 4 of that act, you have clearly defined explanation on how the Collecting Society should exist. So this is when the Collecting Society really was enacted within the Copyright Act of 2004. Now, I'll just be more concentrated on the functions, but just to tell you that it is in two components. You have the society board and you have the society secretariat. The society board is headed by the president and board members who are representing all the stakeholders of the society. And then you have the society secretariat that is headed by the executive secretary with all the staff that will be appointed to run the day-to-day affairs of the society. As I speak with you at present, unfortunately, we still are yet to have an established secretariat. So we only have the society board, that is us, and we are, for the moment, running the ad hoc secretariat in a form of an ad hoc system. And we are hoping eventually, when funds are available, we will be able to establish the secretariat that would now run the day-to-day activities of the society and implement all regulations that would be decided by the society board. Quickly, what would the society be doing? What is a collecting society in this country? Now, I'm sure all of you know about copyright. So when you talk about copyright, for those who don't know, it means protecting any product or work that has been produced by anybody. Be careful, it says anybody. As long as you produce an original work of your own and it becomes a product, it can even be an idea. But if it is a substantive idea, one that can be palpable, you are required to protect it from somebody using it, or from somebody exploiting it, or somebody reproducing it. So from those who are around the table, to give an example, let's say a film producers association, if they produce a movie, they need to show that that movie is theirs by putting their stamp on it. But not only that, they need to go and register that movie as theirs. Why? Because if they don't register it, the idea of the movie can be stolen by another person and reproduced. Remember, the movie has a concept, it has a script, it has an idea. It is trying to teach something or show something. Now, if that idea is stolen by somebody else, because you have registered your work, you can take the person to court, you can claim for damages, etc., etc. And you will be given those damages. That's important. If it is a musician, what is required is the moment you produce your single, you don't have to wait until it is everywhere in the world, then you start protecting it. You have to protect it immediately. Remember, music has many components in it. It has the lyrics. You can protect the lyrics. You can also protect the sound itself. You know, the sound that can also be used by other people, probably to reproduce with different lyrics on it. You understand? Because you can have what we call a melody, and that melody can be used by others and then reproduced with different versions of their lyrics, but have the same melody. So that also can be protected. So you have to protect an idea, a production that has been imagined by you. Whether it is an artwork, whether it is a book you have written, whether it's a poem that you have written, you must protect it. Once you protect it, it does not mean we intervene at that point. We only protect it at the Copyright Bureau, which is hosted by the National Center for Arts and Culture. You protect it at the Copyright Bureau and you have the copyright protection certificate. It means all over the world, nobody else can use it. If anybody exploits it and you can prove that the person has exploited your idea, you can take the person to court and you will be compensated. However, if you do not protect it and somebody else uses it anywhere, you can only complain, you can go to the police, you can go anywhere. Nobody can prove that you were the first person to create it. So this is where most of our artists are losing. Now, once your work is protected, once you protect your work, now the next stage is also to register it with the Collecting Society of the Gambia. You register it with us once you protect it. Then you protect it and then register it with us. What happens then? Now this is where our functions come in. Let me read them for you. Now that you have come to us, you are a member of any of these associations. Any member, these people are just representing the association, but any member of any of these associations should come to a collecting society and register their work that is copyrighted or that is being protected. So what do we do? One, we have to administer exclusively within the Gambia or even outside the Gambia on the basis of reciprocity all rights related to public performance by its members. Now here public performance is open to interpretation. Any work that you are doing. You see, you people are at the camera now, producing something now. You are producing a press conference, right? Once you finish, the product that you have got now can even be protected. Why? Because you can go and then make a kind of a mixture of it. You go to your studio, mix something out of it, make the voice and all that, and then produce it on TV, and then take it to the TV. Now, when you take it to the TV, somebody else can see what you have produced and then take that up, probably restructure it in a different form in another documentary somewhere and use it. So how would there be any proof that you were the one who was the original creator of that idea? So you see, the point is, once it is protected, then and then registered to us, what we do now, we ensure that you get benefits out of it. That is where we administer it. Administering of your product is you get benefits out of it. We will explain what the administration would be. Now, they said inside the Gambia and outside the Gambia, but in reciprocity. What does it mean? If your work is being produced, let's say you're a musician and your work is being played in Senegal, on the TVs there, on the radios, and then Youssou work is being played in the Gambia here. What Youssou who has registered his work at base there, would want is that Gambia would protect his work, that people are supposed to pay him royalty for exploiting his work. If his work is being exploited on TV, they have to pay him. If it is exploited on the radio, they have to pay him. Anyway, so we, the collecting society, will say, okay, we can take up the engagement on condition that any Gambian work also that is being played in Senegal will also be paid to us. Reciprocity. If the country refuses, we also refuse. But if the country agrees, then we agree. It means now we are going to protect all Senegalese products, because Senegal is going to protect all Gambian products and administer them, meaning they are going to collect royalties on the behalf of Gambian musicians or Gambian authors or Gambian performers, and then we also are going to collect on their behalf. Once the point A is done, so the second point is we act as an intermediary for the conclusion of contracts between its members and users of their works. Let's say, for example, the TV, GRTS, or one of your TVs, like Kerfatu, loves the music by, one musician, ST, for example. One of his jingles, they just love it, and they love to use that regularly as a jingle before they do their news. You understand? So what happens now is that they will have to enter into a contract with ST. But to be able to protect ST will have to use the collecting society. The collection will be the intermediary to ensure that contract is signed. Why? Because we will collect for ST. ST cannot go and collect the money for them, for himself. So Gerfatu will be paying directly ST, the collecting society, annually or 6 months, or depending on what agreement has been put in there, a sum that has been also agreed, because they want to use ST sound as a jingle before the news and after the news, or they want to use it for promotion or for advertisement, etc. As long as it's used for commercial purposes, it will have to accrue some money, and naturally the collecting society will have to be the one to ensure that money is paid to the artist. So it's paid to us and we pay it to the artist. It will also receive and record any information from its members in respect of their identification and their works. That's what I mentioned when I said they need to come and register to us. And it will charge and collect on behalf of its members royalties from the users of their works, and pay the royalties to the appropriate members, subject to deduction of agreed charges. Let's say, for example, Trawale's music is being played on let me check one of your TVs around, on Paradise, for example. And then you have been playing the music because this is a new trend and everybody seems to love the sound and everybody likes listening to it, and you take advantage of playing it. Why? Because you want to attract people to listen to your radio. So what happens is, we will enter into an agreement that you are going to make sure that that music is being recorded, the number of times it is played, maybe per week, maybe per month, maybe per every 6 months, whatever agreement is being put in place between us and the radio or the TV. And then they will pay the royalty to us and we will pay it to Trawale. Now, we will pay to Trawale, they say charges, because the Recording Society also, because it's playing a function, it takes a little percentage from it. But that is also agreed with the beneficiary. It also provides information and advice to its members on all matters relating to copyright and keep them informed of their rights. Because naturally, some musicians in the Gambia don't even know their rights when it comes to the products they produce. I'm sure even some of your TVs don't even know the rights of musicians or other artists, or even the rights of their own TV. Because the TV also produces some original work that they put on TV, and they don't know that somebody also can capture that and then use it somewhere. So as long as these rights are not known, then eventually what happens is that you are not going to maximize benefit from your rights. Gambian musicians are claiming to be poor all the time, and sometimes desperately going to look for funds from here and there. It could probably change. If you're a good musician and your music is working out well in the Gambia and outside the Gambia, there's no reason why you should stay poor. Because for the musician, if your music is playing well and you are receiving royalties all over the world, as long as you live, you will receive royalties from that music. As long as it is played in the world, as long as it is played. Until the day you die, you will be receiving royalties. No, not until the day you die. Even after you are dead, up to 50 years after you are dead, they should be paying you. So that means your family is going to enjoy. You can play one single and it's played all over the world and can bring you millions, and those millions will keep coming. I'm sure you people have watched at that Jerusalem. You know the Jerusalem song? I'm sure you all know it, right? No, it's not Alpha Blonde. These are South African mixer with a lady. They play this Jerusalem, and it is now everywhere in the world. The man is stinking rich. You know why? Simply because the song is loved. So anybody who plays it anywhere else, they pay him royalties. South Africa is going to collect the royalties all over the world for the guy. You cannot play it in a nightclub, you don't pay. You cannot play it in the radio, you don't pay. Cannot play it on TV, you cannot pay. And because it's popular, everybody wants to play it for people to listen to your TV or watch your TV or listen to your radio, so that attract audiences or attract spectators. Yes, and even YouTube is paying him. So he's been, the two people are paid the money is coming in dollars and dollars and dollars and dollars. So that is what it means. It means you can get rich normally if your song, I'm saying only one song, it becomes very, very popular. So the other thing is to foster harmony and understanding between its members and users of their works with a view to protecting the rights of its members. So the association or the society is supposed to bring together all those who are thinking and creating. Whether you are creating music, you are creating a book, you are creating a drawing, a painting, you are creating a sculpture, etc. All of them are supposed to be one body. They're supposed to protect each other, support each other, because they are what we call the creative industry. And then to promote activities of the dissemination of national cultural works in and outside the Gambia. So naturally, the collecting society should also be promoting your works, the works of every artist or every promoter or every performer or every creator all over the world. So what it means is that they should be empowered and supported to be able to go everywhere in the world and promote your work. And the last part is to carry out such other duties relating to copyright as may be assigned to it by the society board. So the society board can also decide that the executive secretary can go and attend an intellectual property meeting to know more about collecting issues, or it can also go and attend conferences, etc. Or even the board members can also go and represent the society into conferences or elsewhere. So in general, this is going to be the function of the board. Now, this has started almost a decade and a half ago in the Gambia. Unfortunately, it has not kicked off very, very well, mainly because of resources. So the intention now with the new board, us who are well committed to see things change, our intention is to see that this does not become our big problem. We have to look for the money. Because you see, it's money that brings money. If you don't have the money to strengthen the society, there is no way we can also implement what the society is supposed to implement, its functions, to be able to generate the money that is required. So this press conference is one of those very few advocacy strategies so that people get to know we exist. It's very important that everybody knows we exist. And beyond that also, we will have to do some more sensitization. We have to come and meet some of the core stakeholders of the society. You know, the TVs, the radios, those who are exploiting the works of artists in different functions, you know. Including, for example, also the the IT communication companies like AfriCell, QCell, and others, who in some cases also use jingles that are created by artists. We promote this and we encourage it to happen, but we also say that as long as it's been used, I think it's fair enough also for the artists to benefit from its usage. So where are we presently as a board? I've just mentioned that we've been created recently on the 22nd of May. Since then, we have been strategizing on how to move on from there. We have got a very small one-year strategy that we want to implement, and we are looking into the possibilities of having a 5-year clearly defined strategy. But most importantly, we need to have a society secretariat, appoint an executive secretary and a staff to run this. But before that, we will need to meet our core partners. Part of those who are from government are the Minister of Justice, because that's where the whole legal framework of copyright is hosted. But also the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, where we have partners through the National Center for Arts and Culture, and also the ministry itself as a result of the Copyright Bureau. But we have other international partners, because we have to work in line with all international regulations with regards to collecting of royalties. We know WIPO, that is the World Intellectual Property Organization. We know ARIPO, that is the African version of WIPO, and all other related bodies. We have reached out to some of these, and they have recognized us, and at least it's a good start that they have recognized us, because we can't start without having partners. We have reached out to our partners in Senegal. We were supposed to have met one of the Senegalese experts on copyright. Unfortunately, because of the COVID intensity, he couldn't come. He got COVID. He was attacked by COVID, and he could not come. So we will wait for a while until we are sure things are, in a much better form, and we'll invite the person over. And our intention is to see that we not only do sensitization, but we also do training. We need to train the board members to know how best we can maximize the functions that we have and be able to implement them very, very well. So our strategy at this point is to engage the stakeholders. I mentioned it already. So the media, for example, TV, radio, and also the other cultural, artistic outlets, that are also exploiting some of the works of all performers in general. And we will now work into defining a legislation or a regulation that would help clearly define how we are going to go about it. Presently now, if you want to implement it to the letter, it will be difficult. So we are going to make it in a soft way. For example, we will tell one TV, okay, you know what, you are using a lot of Gambian work. We might probably not be able to charge you for each Gambian work, but let's start with a reasonable sum. That is not going to cause you some headache. So that sum will start coming to the collecting society, and that sum also, we will see how best, depending on which authors they use, or even at a stage, depending on whether the association agrees, to become the initial what we call funds to take off the society, so that the secretariat can start, and it will have operational costs, etc., until it is much stronger. We do not have any concrete evidence that the society is budgeted under the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, where it resides as a result of the connection with the National Center for Arts and Culture. But remember, collecting societies do not have to be state institutions. Remember, all these people are all private, and the president is private. So we do not necessarily have to depend on a state institution, meaning that government funds to get us going. Yes, it will be appreciated if government helps to build us, to get us started. But eventually, we would be able to sustain ourselves if everything goes the way it should. And we should be able to become an independent body that can make our own independent decisions and also defend the rights of those who are members. Meaning that to defend your right, you also have to come and register as a member. And we have not yet defined the membership fees, but eventually we will have to define also membership so that people know to become part of the collecting society and get benefits from the collecting society. Naturally, you will have to show your commitment to be a member of the collecting society. So in general, this is what I wanted to share with you at this press conference, and thank all of you for coming. And we now open the floor for questions and answers, if there are any. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, the first question is certainly yes, because in any normal organized body, country, anybody who produces, who suffers to produce any form of work is entitled to be rewarded for it. So if your TV is playing somebody's music and getting something out of it for playing that music, because they get something out of it. So if they are playing somebody's music or using it for jingle or using it for advertisement, and somebody's paying them, it is fair enough for them also to pay at least those who have participated in it. Part of participants are those who have created the jingle. They didn't create the jingle. The jingle was created by somebody else, somebody's music. So yes, in any society that is in their correct legal system, they should compensate every individual that has played a role in making a product that is used elsewhere. So yes, if I write a book, I'm assuming that now my book cannot be, you cannot go and just copy 3 pages out of it and go and sell it somewhere to say that this is your work. You know, you take a chapter of my book and then you write it, rewrite it, or something like that, you go and say it's your work. That is why plagiarism comes in. What you are saying now, they have plagiarized your work. That is the second question you raised. They have plagiarized your work. And what happens therefore is that those who are plagiarizing your work are stealing your ideas. And that is a crime. In the Gambia, it's now a crime, even if it is not taken to court yet. In fact, no, there's a case of it once. One of the historians, Anti-President Sonko Godwin, had to take 2 teachers to court because these 2 teachers went and extracted all her work, as exactly they did with you, and then reproduced those, and they were commercializing it, selling it to students as history notes without acknowledging that it was not their work. And even if it was not their work, even if they put their anti-president on gun, but they are collecting money, they are not giving to her. So she took them to court, but she had to go through the NCAC. She had to protect all her work in advance. That's why she was lucky. And she took them to court and she won the case. She won the case. Now, don't ever be tired of protecting your work. We live in a world now, it is much easier to steal somebody's idea, especially when you are writing. Yes, if you publish it on your page and it's online, you have already invited everybody else to see it, and some crooks can also go and take it. If it is a bright idea, they can steal it away from you. In fact, we have our the director of copyright, Sana, who is around. I'm sure, just to tell you the gist of it, if you have any work, you can find his contacts, you can send your work to him, and he will advise on how to protect it. You will pay a fee. Somebody told me, but every time I have to pay this amount of dollars to protect my work, and what will that give me back? The point is, if somebody should ever steal your work and you take them to court, they will pay you everything money back. But not that. What if your work turns out to become very, very famous and start bringing a lot of revenue and you didn't protect it? Somebody takes ownership of that work. What will you do? You go and shout in the streets, it was me, it was me. We're going to prove it. You cannot prove it. So it is always advisable. Look, for example, Harry Potter, the writer of Harry Potter, he's a teacher, primary school teacher, who went and wrote the book and took it to many, many publishers. They all rejected the story. They said, look, this is 2 fantasies. Who will believe in witchcraft and a boy throwing this and that? Please. You know what happened? Some small publisher just published that book, and it became dynamite. It exploded everywhere. The next time she wrote the second book, every publisher was running after her, even the best. But she went back to that other publisher. And eventually, the movie industry came to her. No, we love your book. We want to produce it into a movie. She's a multi-millionaire because she protected her work. So she enjoyed it. So sometimes the work you protect can make you famous. But if you're too tired or too lazy to go and protect it or invest in it, it can affect you. So always protect your work. Don't ever be tired about it, okay? Great. Yes, Sana.
Doctor, it will be interesting. I just finished my master's program in intellectual property law. I also just finished my expert training. I just finished my expert training last Friday with the British Copyright Council and WIPO. Doctor, at that training, to run the CSG is right in my fingers here. I have all the contacts. The British Copyright Council, I'm on record. They are ready to support all the CSG, any CSG that is willing to be effective. They are ready to support.
That's good news.
All they want is we give them the contact. They will provide training, technical support as we want. This platform is very important. Another information I want to tell you is this. Collecting society in Africa they are taking the center stage of Africa's development because they come from the private sector, and the private sector's contribution to national development, we all know it. Copyright office is here. We work with CSG. There is no way you can separate CSG from copyright office. So I welcome your meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Sana.
Copyright officer.
Oh, the copyright officer. Sorry, he's the one responsible for copyright matters. And luckily for us, he has always been very supportive, attending most of the meetings. And he has just mentioned something, and it's very important. When we are taking off, we need the support, both technical resources and all that. And I'm happy to see that the Copyright Bureau will be able to provide that support. So we are open to other questions in case you have any.
Yes.
Yes.
My name is Yahya Jal from QT.
Okay.
You is talking about copyrights here, and people produce, artists, writers, and other things. How do they protect their content after producing it?
Okay, so let's say, for example, the case of a writer.
Ask all my questions.
Yes. Oh, okay. You don't mind if you have them written. Let's make it one at a time.
Okay.
It's all right. We give you all the possibilities. If you produce any work of your original creation, whether it's music, whether it's the lyrics of the music, music can only be the melody, whether it's the lyrics, whether it's a book, whether it's a poem. You can even produce only one poem, even one verse. You want to protect that verse, you have to go to the Copyright Bureau, file a form, and then produce it. In fact, I will even surprise you because I even have the form here. You see, the application form. So you go and download it online, then you fill it in, you put in all your details, and then you send it to the NCAC, to the copyright officer. Once you do that, then they will put it in their catalogs, and then they will acknowledge to you that it has been protected. Once it's protected, you are done. Now, I don't want to give examples because I know all of the TVs are around and all that, but there was a company, so I'm just going to put it off this. So if you are able to guess it, fine. There was a company that was using somebody's product. Luckily for the person made a copyright of it. And they went to the company and said, okay, you people are using my product. Are you going to pay me back for it? But they were using it for commercial purposes. And unfortunately, the company wanted to, be resistant to say, no. We are not used to doing that. We don't pay. Okay, said fine, just sit tight. And then they went to the National Center for Arts and Culture, made the report. National Center for Arts and Culture supported them to take the matters to court. They were compensated. They were supposed to have paid millions of dollars just for that one song. But luckily, after negotiation, they were able to pay a good, reasonable sum that the beneficiaries felt they were satisfied, and that was the end of the story. Yes, every work must be protected, and the National Center for Arts and Culture hosts the office where you are going to register for that protection. Yeah.
Yes. Another question. We have a lot of rising artists, most of whom don't have the capacities, for instance, to do what they want to do, for instance. We don't know your registration fees. They might hear about this registration issues. Artists that are uprising and are trying to perform very well and don't have the capacities, to register with you in order to help themselves. How do you try to inculcate these people into the system to make sure that their works are being protected? And again, we have radio stations and TV stations that have fought in the name of promoting young artists, you understand, and play their songs during radio times or periods without paying them. At this juncture, since this organization, a collective society, is about to bounce back to make sure all these things are things of the past, how do you intend to do this?
Okay, emerging artists are vulnerable. You have to accept it. Imagine authors writing books, they are vulnerable. Imagine musicians are vulnerable. Vulnerability means they are easily exploited. Now, they might say, for example, they don't have the means to register as a member of the collecting society. They have their representative in the collecting society. Let them discuss with them and see. And to some extent, the association themselves can even decide to help support some of them and then pay their membership. So let them reach out. Let them not stay in their corners and just play victim. The more you open up to people, you have an association that's protecting you. Even if you cannot pay for that association, just come to the association and say, look, I am interested, I support, I am committed, but I cannot pay. And you see what will happen. Because the association can only function if members come. Whether they pay or not, the members are supposed to be giving the association what we call the strength, the confidence, the support for them to have the stamina, the energy to be moving on. That's very important. So let them not hesitate to go through their associations to be part of the collecting society. That's why they have representatives at the board level. So that's important. So I encourage every artist never to undermine, never to hesitate, never to minimize the importance of the collecting society by just staying there and say, man, we better live in Larek, man, never talk to my board, we'll worry, sir, affair in a bar. You know, affair in bar, we should leave that mentality. Associations protect each other or protect its members. The association, you know, in some cases we fail. We should accept it. We are like a small toddler. You know, a baby cannot walk overnight. It has to stand and fall. So let's accept that we are learning. But let's accept people also to take responsibility to strengthen that association by becoming members, throwing good ideas, supporting it, making it work. That's very important. Now the second thing is that vulnerability you talked about. That opportunity that radios take and then TV to say, let's come and promote your music or promote your song or promote your book or promote your painting by exploiting it on our TV everywhere. The artists should remember, because most of in the music industry in the Gambia, unfortunately, you know, you have those who are producing artists, but you have those artists that are producing themselves. They go in solo, working out. Sometimes you have a producer, the producer takes responsibility to protect your work, to protect you, they guide you towards that. So if you have a good producer, the good producer will not allow your work to just be exploited like that. They will negotiate a contract. They will come to the radio or to the TV to say, look, we want you to promote the guy, but there is a mutual benefit in this promotion. We will reduce a tariff, say, okay, you promote, you know, you play 3 songs, but the next 5 songs you have to pay us. That's all right. I mean, there's always a negotiation. But if it is the artist himself, money, I'm single wide, I'm them to radio, man, promote some boba. Well, we can't do anything. Because remember, it's your work. We can do nothing. The way you can be protected is when you want it. If you don't want to be protected, it's like somebody who is very rich. You build, you have a big, you put chairs and TV and everything. You don't want to build a house. You want to build it in the streets. Put a TV and everything, and you want to sleep at night and be safe. You have to protect your property. It doesn't matter how rich you are. If your property is not protected, somebody will take advantage of it. You understand? So this is what we are encouraging artists in all forms. Whether you are writers, whether you are slam poets, whether you are musicians, whether you are a cappella guys, whichever part you are, whether you are dramatists, you know, theaters, you know, dancers, anything you do that has come out of your mind as an original work, an original creation, an original performance, an original script is already required protection. That's it. So you are encouraged to come and protect it and be part of the association or the society. Yes.
Of course, subsequently, an artist or a producer might end up making a lot of money after protecting their content. That becomes an income generation source for the individual.
Yes.
Are they liable to tax payments, and how is this done?
Well, listen, every Gambian in this country is liable to tax as long as you are into commercial business. Once you go commercial, you go business, even individuals like us who have these many small salaries that we are paying taxes. So if you go into business, there is always a tax levied against your business. Whether you are a musician, even you are selling a painting, remember, there should be a portion of that money that should go into tax. Now, people should not be afraid of paying tax. I think some people always think that paying tax is going to reduce your earnings. It doesn't. In fact, it maximizes your earnings, because remember, in as much as we are still grappling to have an idealistic, perfect government, a government cannot work without the taxes. So we encourage people, once they start earning money, to put in perspective that they should be paying taxes. A lot of artists, a lot of actors, a lot of performers, a lot of writers probably have faced the law in certain advanced countries and have finally lost everything because they were evading taxes. Tax evasion is dangerous. It's a crime. So in a poor developing country, if you are not contributing your little to improve that country so that the resources are available to improve the status of our country, you are hesitant to do that because for some reason you have a position about it. If you are caught, it's a crime. It's a crime. You have to pay your taxes, all the taxes, and probably even with some interest. Nobody would want to be dragged to court because of tax evasion. So it's artists and whoever is within the industry, cultural industry, are encouraged to declare their profits, to declare their assets, and all that is tax liable to declare those and conform to paying taxes. That way you are safe. Whatever you get there is really the benediction of what you have done, and eventually I'm sure you will not regret having paid your taxes because you will always be left in peace and you will never have a scandal of that time. Because sometimes you can lose everything. When they realize your taxes are huge and you don't have enough, they might come and take all from you. And you might probably go back to square -1, not even 0, -1, because you will now be indebted. And when you are indebted, you might be locked into prison, you will lose your career. So it's not worth it. Yeah.
Finally, the national collecting or the collecting organization of society have been here for nearly 2 decades, as stated in your deliberations.
Yes.
For me, this is the first time knowing that this is existing. And I believe many other artists and other producers that are in the business. How do you ensure that the society keeps going as it had a setback before, and there is sustainability in the work that they are doing?
Thank you very much. First of all, let's remember that that there can be 2 factors to the reason why the society might not have emerged. The first factor is that members of the board are all voluntary. So that means the level of commitment cannot be too high. So this is one problem. It means that if you want a collective society really to stand, there should have been enough money to have the secretariat installed immediately. Then the board, you can change the board anytime. But the secretariat is all functional, people are being paid, so they would be there. Visibility will be there. They will be doing the promotion, the outreach, the advocacy, etc. Unfortunately, there was never enough money to establish the secretariat. There has always been the board, and the boards are all volunteers. So naturally, if other more pressing matters pull them away, so the commitment to meet all the time and be able to establish it would be difficult. I commend all those who have been here. They have been brave. They have held the fort. It was not an easy task to be multitasking, doing your job, making sure your family is funded for, and at the same time coming on voluntary basis to sit down again on hours, making sure this kind of thing works. Maybe initially they should have said, once the collecting society is created, let's say government would have allocated, let's say 3 million for the next 5 years, so that the secretariat will stand strong. By the time the secretariat stands strong and starts implementing, they would be getting levies. Part of their funding, as is indicated in the act, is that they will be able to levy money from what they are collecting. So if they are collecting, let's say $100, they will probably return $10. If they collect 1 million, they will be returning maybe 100,000. So that 100,000 now will go into operating costs, and it will pay salaries, etc., etc. Then the collecting society secretariat would have been functioning. But if they start at 0 and you say anybody, now you start collecting, how do you collect? You have to put in the secretariat, legislation, a host of things to start properly collecting. So I think this was the challenge. I can't promise anything. I can tell you for one thing, the members here are all committed. When we call for a meeting, they're all committed to come, and honestly, they have even given their bits, their own resources to see things work. Let's hope that this momentum will continue, and let's hope that we'll make a difference.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes.
When do you intend to start collecting this royalty?
Why don't we start tomorrow? What TV are you representing? Aha. When you go to your boss, tell him that now from October, he should be now paying the collecting society 30K per month. No. On a serious note, we cannot just kick off this thing without consulting our stakeholders. They are the ones paying. We don't also want to put. It's not a burden. It's a cooperation. It's a partnership. So we will sit down, we will discuss with them at individual level, we will visit them, we will talk to them, they will be sensitized, they will know, we will all plan it together. We know the artists are desperate to see money flowing in, but we don't want to rush things that we know is not properly planned. Because at the end of the day also, there would be resistance. I mean, if I tell you, go and tell Kerfado to start paying me 30,000 every October, Kerfado has to pay salaries and has to buy equipment and all that, he will start getting worried. But if you say, look, we will go to strategize. We will say, okay, let's start it at this particular date in the future. When we start it, we will ask you to pay a round figure, for example, a lump sum of this amount per month as a start. Because remember, for it to be effective and implemented properly to the letter, every music you play, jingle or just music for entertainment, you have to record it. You have to have a form to record everything. That is the way it happens. So that record now must be submitted to the collecting society every period. It will be determined. Is it going to be every week? The collecting society might say every week. So every week you must submit to it a list of songs or jingles or lyrics or poetry, etc., whatever you have exploited there to the collecting society. And the collecting society will factor that in their computer, and at the end of the month they will now charge you how much you should pay against those.
Okay.
So we cannot start that immediately. It will take some little time. What we are saying is, let's start little by little. First of all, sensitization, advocacy. Let's understand what it means when the collecting society begins. Next stage, let's now take a commitment to start budgeting for the collecting society by giving a token as a start, so that maybe the operations will begin. And then the third stage now, as we keep growing, then we start building it up to that level. Then you will realize that even your own music will change. Even the selection of your music will change. You'll probably start saying, okay, maybe if I put this artist, I'm not going to get much, but if I put this artist, I'll get more. So I'd rather put the one that I'll get more. So you start promoting more artists. So a lot of things can change. So, but we are going to work it out, inshallah.
Okay, my final question is, right now our music is going out internationally. Even last night I was listening to BBC Extra. I had them playing ENC, ST, Jizo, even Oboy.
Yes.
So, are you going to, also, collect the royalties from the BBC? And secondly, the other one is, we have Gambian artists who are based in diaspora, and their music is trending here.
Yes.
Will you collect the royalty on their behalf as well?
We will collect royalty for every artist that has registered to us, that has registered with the Copyright Bureau and has also registered with us. Because you see, the point is, collecting society is also a kind of a private enterprise. We can't force to collect for anyone who doesn't want to money to be collected. So it's like a bank. If you don't come and save in my bank, you're going to come and ask for money. You have to come and start saving so that I know that your money is my bank. So next time you come and ask, I know your money is there and I'll give it to you. You see my point? So in other words, there must be a commitment to show that, yes, we want to be a part of the collecting society, so you can collect for us. Now, for those whose music are being played outside, let's start with that, in BBC and others. Two things should happen. One, you must have registered with us and protected your work in the Gambia and have it also registered with Collecting Society. That is one. And then two, we will also have, and we will have entered into an agreement with the UK to ensure that every Gambian music that is played there, they will collect on our behalf. In return, we will also agree to collect on their behalf, or every music that is produced by a British actor or musician. Be careful. That means even if your TV is going to play music that is produced by a British, because we are collecting, they are collecting for us, we'll collect for them. So that means you will also give us money for that. And we are going to compute it, and then we send the money to them. So that's the way it should be. For artists that are outside, we encourage them, let them continue promoting their work here, but let them also register it at the Copyright Bureau and also register it with us. Yes. Okay, you have any question?
Yeah, the other question we already answered it. My has already answered. But the last question is, do you expect the Gambia artists will register for this one?
We are encouraging them because they have already sent a representative to the board. So naturally, we are hoping that they would have confidence in their representative to defend their rights, and then explain, work out also through us to them, because we will be meeting them. We will be inviting the artists, we will be inviting the writers. So we will be having some kind of conferences with them, discuss these things with them. There is advocacy that should go on, and training. People need to understand that the collecting society is not there to exploit. It is there to promote. And the advantages are, if you register, you get something. The registration might be minimal compared to your earning. So it is always encouraged to happen. Look, Youssou N'Dour could not have been rich if he was playing all his songs without registering them. I mean, Youssou N'Dour is a multimillionaire today. Why? Because people like his music. So because they like his music, he's played everywhere in the world. Everywhere they play, they're paying him. They're paying him when France plays the music. They're paying him when the UK plays his music, because the collecting society in Senegal has entered into an agreement of all those countries to make sure that Youssou N'Dour's song played anywhere else must be paid to them, and they will pay to Youssou N'Dour, taking a little percentage from it, maybe 10%, 15%, depending on the agreement, and they give the rest to Youssou N'Dour. So Youssou N'Dour can lie down today, no more music. He will still be rich until he dies. And even after he is dead, in Senegal, for 70 years, not 50, we are going to change the Gambia's legislation. 70 years after he is dead, his music is still going to be given back to him. By the way, do you know when Bob Marley died? 1981. Any music of Bob Marley played anywhere in the world is paid to his family. Anywhere in the world. Even if you reproduce his music, you are going to pay back to his family. So the family is Rita. Rita Marley is rich. She doesn't have to sing. She can go and lie in the beach every day until she dies. And then even if she dies, her children will also enjoy, probably until they die. And maybe their children also will enjoy. That is the beauty of it. And that is why I said, we hold the diamonds, but we are giving them away. We are throwing them in the streets because we don't know they are diamonds. So we should produce good music. We should produce original music. We should promote our music, and we should see it played all over the world, and we should see the riches coming in. And why? Because the collecting society alone can be another economic boost for this country, because it will promote the culture of this country everywhere else, and it can create more people coming in who are interested to see our music and see our cultures, etc. Yeah. Great. So, no more questions?
Clear.
All right, let me ask, do you have any one word or two to add before we close?
Add something on that they are doing as TV experts or technicians. Yes, most of you cannot directly benefit from the economic part. When you are distributing royalties here, royalties has two components. That is the moral right and the economic right. The economic right is when you can collect the money, and it's being collected by the CSG, by the society, and distributed to you, the artists. But most of you cannot enjoy that, because the reason is you are on commission job, that is paid jobs. Because you are paid by Kerfatu, whether you produce or you don't produce in the month, they still pay you at the end of the month. Whether you produce any production or you don't do anything for the whole month, you go for vacation, they still pay you a salary because you are paid. So your work is the work of Fatu's Kerfatu. That's why most of the time at the end of the work they would say cease in bracket, that means copyrighted Kerfatu, because they take ownership. But you as the technician, you cannot take ownership in that because you are on paid job. If you are working independently, you have your own studio or your own production, you do it on your own, then you take that work now to Kerfatu because you finance it, you did the work, now you give it to Kerfatu and they played it. That generates royalty for you. That is a difference that you need to understand, because I think I have resolved a lot of problems with most of these technicians who are working with these social institutions or social medias or some of these new television stations. They have had issues that people have come, especially if they are leaving one particular social media, or they are leaving one particular TV going to another one. They said, I did this job and I am going, now I wanted to take it, but the owner says, no, I cannot take it because it's my job, I did this job, I did. No, it is not your job. As long as you are here on the banner or invitation of Fatu, not in the invitation of Lamin Haidara, you are here in the invitation of an institution, Paradise QTV or whatever, you cannot own the job. Whatever production you do under that banner, under that beret, it belongs to that institution. That institution owns it. So what you own there is the moral right. They have all the right, even if you leave that job. for 20 years or 40 years or 70 years, that job must be always entered. Your moral right must be always read. Camera by Pat Njai. The technician, the sound was taken by Idrissa Mbouch. Or it was filmed by, edited by Taranga, whatever your name is. That is your moral right. So I think you need to distinct that. I have heard it, and it wasn't clear in his deliberation here, and it's very important for you, so that actually goes across to you, because we've seen a lot of those situations in here. And that's one of the points. And the other point that I also want to put across is copyright, as he said, it's automatic. You don't need to register. It's automatic. The moment you create a work with the Bands Convention, copyright is automatic. But you need to register so as to establish a data for in case queries come in tomorrow. You can even copyright your work by sending the work just to post office, and then you get a stamp on it. It's being received, then it's copyrighted. You can use that. That's what most of the people are using here professionally, because before we even have the Copyright Office starting registration, because the registration in our office here started just 2 years ago. They are not even 2 years. It's about 1 year something ago. So we are almost going down to 2 years ago. So it's not actually a big something that you necessarily have to, but it's essential, because one, we need it. You need it for elaboration. That is to justify your work has been dated on this particular day in case queries come in or nominations are being fought. And secondly, we need it for the national repertoire, because we are creating the national repertoire, and your work, you want definitely for it to be part of the national repertoire, so you need to be represented. So it's very important that you put it inside. And now the new mechanism that has just started and it's just kicking off, which is the Kampala Protocol. You can also register directly now to also ARIPO as an individual. You can also register your work also, in which instead of only your work only being registered or protected in the Gambia here, but it is going to be protected internationally. Oh, sorry, regionally, which is in the whole of the African region. That is because the Copyright Office in the Gambia cannot protect you in Sierra Leone unless the CSG is able to sign a reciprocation agreement for collection of royalties in Sierra Leone. But it cannot be protected by the state of Sierra Leone, their Copyright Office, because your work is not registered there as an entity. So now ARIPO has given that provision where you can, once you are registered under the ARIPO protocol, which is the Kampala Protocol, your work can be protected all the way up to South Africa. And infringement happens there, ARIPO takes the course. And CISAC, which is the African Regional CMO office as well, can also protect you alongside, where CSG cannot protect you underneath. They cannot do they don't even need to do the reciprocation agreement also underneath that. You can certainly get all that at the regional level so as to be able. So they have made it very easy for copyright to go actually regional now, that you do not even have to rely on the national authorities or the national mechanisms that are in place. But yet still, if you do productions and your productions go for MTV, South African TV, or you sell their materials, so it would be very important. And it would be very important for you to put your works, especially to register them in this regional body. That will also be a plus for you as well. I think these are the 2 points I wanted to add, until if you have any more questions to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair, for those clarifications. I think it's just for the...
A very useful conversation. And this is a very important element in the economic development of this country. The artistic associations have been yearning for this for a long time. Let me tell you, the artists know about this. They don't just know how to go about it in terms of getting this. But now things are actually shaping up. It is very disheartening for somebody to create something and for that person to sit there and see somebody else benefiting from it, and then there's nothing you can do about it. And even if you go to the police, there's nothing you can do about it because you do not have the proof that this is your work. That is very disheartening. I think all of us, we would want to benefit from whatever thing we do. Televisions, radio stations are like shops. They sell services. They promise people that they are going to provide entertainment, they are going to provide information, and all of that don't just come out of a vacuum. People created these things under different circumstances. If you happen to be an independent producer and you want to take a show to a television station, it is just like a shop. You do not produce a certain kind of material and you take it to the shop and you tell the person, just sell it, whatever you have, you give it to me. That doesn't happen. You sell the thing to the person and the person sells it at a profit. So it is the responsibility of these broadcasters to be able to sell those services at a profit and be able to pay the artists the amount of money that the artists require. So I just wanted to make this thing clear. It has been a very, very long time. Nothing is being said anywhere about how artists are supposed to benefit, and this is a very, very sad situation. So I think this is important for all of us, and I thank you all for coming and for making sure that this information goes out there and we start this sensitization together so we can all benefit, be it broadcasters or creators. Thank you.